Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way, fighting forever against overwhelming odds, fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms, idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you want man? Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out the shore, or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay, fighting forever against overwhelming odds, fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms, idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, did you wanna dance? Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions, idle champions, idle champions, idle champions.
Oh, that's my cue. Oh, hi, everybody. That's right. I'm in control of that. I may have forgotten a couple things. At least one thing. And was frantically trying to get it done before the time ran out. We are here now. Welcome, everybody. Oh, my voice is going already. That's not a good sign. For this episode of Gaarawarr's Guide the Tutorial Show, today we are covering all of the rest of the Flex champions I did not cover last week. That's the other thing I forgot to prep. I forgot to put them in a formation. Yeah. Today's Wintershield Flex Champion Day. Just in case you have questions about how they're used and maybe, last minute selections before the event ends on Wednesday. This is the stream for that. Yeah. Joining me today, grabbing questions, is Mars. Mars is here, everybody. It's a very Mars New Year, apparently. So Mars is gonna grab your questions as long as you put question colon, like it says down in the little box down there. Yeah. Because the way this works is I'm going to talk about all these champions. I should be trying to get them out in the formation. We talked about Will last week, so I need to add Barrow. I'm talking about all of these champions, and then after I'm done, whenever that is, if I finish, I'll finish. Then we will do Q&A. Then we will do the Q&A. So let's see. We got all of these. Neris. There's some of these. Where you at, Neris? There you are. Here's your goth makeup. Artemis. Oh my god. I'm putting Artemis in my formation. Who even am I? Morgaine, Baloth. There's Baloth. Morgaine here, yes. Look, it's almost like I somewhat remember this. Viconia, Rust, and Imoen. There's Rust. No, Imoen's in the same suit as Rust. That's right. And Viconia's. Oh, Viconia's here. There we go. Okay, so we'll have to do a swap with Rust at some point. As long as I don't forget. All right, because there's 9 champions. I'm going to be racing through 9 champions, folks. 9 champions. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to go through this kind of quickly and succinctly. If anybody's ever been to my streams before, that probably made you laugh. But let's go. Let's start with my favorite champion, Artemis Intrari. We got to get it out of the way. If you don't know, I'm not a huge. I am not an Artemis stan. I don't care. I like Artemis in the books, but that's a different Artemis than this one. Artemis, male, human, rogue, lawful, evil, DPS, no affiliation. He is not a member of the Companions of the Hall. He's just one of their friends. Well, in this form, he's one of their enemies, but whatever. Vampiric Dagger is the base attack. He attacks the nearest enemy with his dagger. He has one ability. That's not true. He has multiple abilities, but really all anybody cares about is this one ability, Observance. Artemis observes and copies the positional formation abilities applied to other DPS champions in the formation, and gains a copy of those abilities on himself at a value that varies with his gear. It's this one right here. Even if he himself already receives that effect. So this is it. This is Artemis's kit. This is it. He only likes positional formation abilities. Now, if you recall, those are abilities that have a positional indicator before as a directional effect for the buff. It's not about their, positions for the qualifying for like to count stacks for a buff. It's positions for where the buff is going. So someone like Brunor who buffs in his own column, or Celeste who buffs adjacent, or Calliope who buffs in the column ahead. Those are positionals. Artemis wants champions who have lots of positionals, because some champions have multiple. And the more positionals you have, the better, especially if you have the DPS tag and also like a support tag. Because he's the DPS. He's the one doing the damage, but he's observing off other DPS champions. So you still have to have those positionals hit somebody that has a DPS tag, but is currently supporting Artemis. That's the whole thing. That's the whole puzzle. That's it. It's just that with gear, this can get real big. As you can see, this is 2,600% of their effectiveness. So you can hit him with it, and he can get another version that's even stronger. And he can do that for every positional. That's what makes Artemis strong. That's why Artemis has the highest potential damage in the game. Now, there's a difference between potential and actual. If you do not have gear on Artemis, he's garbage. If you have gear, but you don't have 1,000 item levels, he's average. He's mid. If you have this golden flute with over 1,000 item levels, he's now decently, he has the potential now to be decently strong. But guess what? You've also got to have hundreds of item levels and good gear on all those supporting champions that are feeding their buffs into him, or it's really just kind of, okay. He has a lot of qualifiers. He is, I want to be very clear, a late game and beyond DPS. Because late game and beyond, unless you're throwing cash at this game, lots of cash, is the only time you're going to have 1,000 plus item levels in a golden flute. Unless you just stalled your progress in the mid game because you wanted it. Yeah. But for new players, and early game, and even mid game players, there's better DPS out there who can do the same kind of damage, but with fewer item levels. That's kind of what you need early on, right? They can do good damage and help you progress without all this hassle, without all the required champion. All right, second ability, Jeweled Power. Whenever Artemis kills an enemy, which is what he does, his damage is increased by 100% multiplicatively. Now, they say this multiplicatively because it's whenever he kills one. There's a 10% chance per stack, but it does add additive the 10% chance that Artemis's next attack deals 300% more damage and resets the stat count. So just occasionally there's a burst of a little more damage. Not really. It's okay. It's okay. Now, Observance, you can get some even more bonuses, as if the initial bonus wasn't big enough. You can observe friends or you can observe foes. This is why I said Artemis is the bad guy in this version. even though currently in the books he's a trusted friend. Observance Foe is the effect is increased by 25% multiplicatively for positional formation abilities observed and copied from Dritz and Caddy Bree. It's rare that you're going to do this. I mean, you can. I mean, the 25% is nice. I guess if you're hitting everything on Caddy Bree, it might work, but you wouldn't want Dritz in. Dritz is a pure DPS. So he's wasted. He's wasted in that formation. This is a silly ability. It makes sense lore-wise, but it's silly because you wouldn't have him in. But Caddy Bree is a DPS support, so you could. Observance Friend tends to be what I use, but that doesn't mean I'm good at Artemis because I don't care about Artemis. I understand him, but I don't try to min-max him. Observance's effect is increased by 10% multiplicatively for positional formation abilities observed and copied from champions adjacent to Artemis. This one you tend to be able to get much bigger numbers on. That's why I tend to roll with this one when I am throwing Artemis in. Because you can have a bunch of people positioned adjacent to him, and then all the positionals that are hitting him are all hit by the 10%, as opposed to trying to focus them all onto Caddy Bree and Artemis. These observant shenanigans work for more than just DPS as well. They've worked for healing, which is how you get like what we call Orkira stacking, where you if you want to stack up Orkira's healing effect super high, you can get because her healing, the amount she's healed increases the amount she debuffs. So getting the maximum effect for her debuff is based off getting the most healing possible. Artemis is kind of the key to that. As you can see, this is it, folks. Observance, Jeweled Power, and the Spec Choice, and that's their whole kit. A pair of self-damage items, Observance, Jeweled Power, increases his damage while his ultimate is active and reduces the ultimate cooldown. We didn't talk about the ultimate. One-upped for 30 seconds. This is 30 seconds power button. Artemis concentrates on showing off his martial prowess, increasing his base damage by 300% for each DPS champion in the formation, including himself, stacking multiplicatively, so he wants a couple of them. Artemis's base attack cooldown also completes whenever another DPS champion attacks. So he's going to attack more often, and he's going to do a lot more damage, right? And with that item, he'll do even more damage. So it doesn't do anything. He just goes ooh, and then he starts attacking more often. But we're in an insta kill area, so it doesn't really do anything. Feat wise, guess what, folks? He's got damage. I don't know why he has a gold find feat. I truly don't. I guess because he was a mercenary. Just lore wise, I guess. Self damage. He's got a vicious damage. This is a big one. His damage by 400%. That's what we want. We want this one in. Get out of there. Part Shade. This is an interesting one. It boosts his damage 240% if he hasn't received any heals or shields in the last 10 seconds. This is very situational. Multiversal Allies increases the damage of all champions by 20% for each unique species in the formation. Okay, sure. We got Jewel Power. We got some crits, crit chance. Lots of crit chance. He's not really crit based. It's interesting that they give him a lot of crit chance, but sure. All right, we're done with Artemis. Mr. Baloth! Mr. Baloth! We're talking about Baloth. Baloth Baratil. This is my default skin for him. I mean, it's not. This is the default skin for him. He has lots of outfits, but if there's a pirate, that's putting it wrong. Male Drow, Sorcerer, Chaotic Evil, Support in Gold, is considered a member of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. So, part of that affiliation, but he doesn't really. This is like how do I want to put this? This is a basket they threw anybody related to Baldur's Gate in that wasn't part of the Absolute Adversaries. It isn't the same as the other affiliations. I want to be clear. Base attack, Chain Lightning, magical attack. Baloth fires a bolt of lightning at a random enemy, which deals damage and then arcs to up to 4 times, but doing 20% less damage per arc. It doesn't even matter that it's doing less damage because he's not a DPS. Just know that you can hit up to 5 enemies with his base attack, which is good. Because his first ability is paid partially with pain. Enemies hit by Baloth's Chain Lightning drop more gold when killed. That's right. So tag all them enemies with a multi-hit effect and enjoy. Cause for celebration. Enemies killed by champions in the column ahead of or behind. This is specifically one column ahead or one column behind. Explode into magical paper confetti. Glorious. Dealing damage and slowing enemies near them by 50% for 10 seconds. So they explode into AoE. They're little damage explosions of AoE and crowd control. The damage done ignores debuffs because it's already like a butt-based hit, I think. Oh no, because you already killed them. Just doing. I can't remember how they calculate the damage on this one, actually. I want to say it's bud-based because of that. Is either half. Yeah, that's it. Either half of the hit that killed them, or 1/4 of their max health. That's why it ignored the debuffs. Whichever is higher. So, because it's going whichever is higher, this is great because that means on a like trash mob on a boss level, if you kill the trash mobs right next to the boss, they will pump out 1/4 of the max health of the boss, and the boss just disappears. Or, at the very least, it will remove armor segments, right? This effect can chain if the explosion kills an enemy. Alright. Morbid Excitement is kind of their, kind of like a ramping effect. The neat thing is when we get to their ultimate can just max it out. So, you don't have to worry too much about building around Morbid Excitement because of that, but you can. All champions in the column in front of or behind Baloth. This is, again, telling you your DPS needs to be either in front of Baloth or behind Baloth. They do a bunch more damage per Morbid Excitement stack. Morbid Excitement loses 10% of stacks every 10 seconds, and stacks cap it, for me at the moment, 454. Stacks are earned for the following. It can adjust. That's why I say that. Defeating a favored foe. That's kind of the tie-in with Heroes of Baldur's Gate. Because they're a favored foe-oriented team. A lot of them are, not all of them. An enemy drops more gold due to paid partially with pain. An enemy explodes in confetti due to cause for celebration. A chain reaction kills an enemy due to cause for celebration. A champion in any column in front of Baloth takes damage, so he can be anywhere in the formation as long as he's not in the front column. Or a champion dies, and that's a lot of stacks. Now, you don't want that. It's ways to ramp up damage. Okay. Generous Djinn. This is the thing that had Baloth at the top of his bench seat for a very long time, until Antreus came along, and then there were some other champions, and suddenly seat 4 was a lot more competitive. But this is still strong. It just takes a little work. Baloth's Djinn servant Najim will bring any champion that dies back to life at 1 HP. That alone is awesome, right? You get a freebie. This is great against the Devourer. You get one free Devour, and then it goes on cooldown. After coming back to life, it makes them immune to all damage for 20 seconds. Fantastic, because this is usually happening in the take column, right? For as long as the resurrected champion lives, the party's damage is increased by 300%. It does have a 60-second cooldown. So what happens is somebody dies in the formation, like a tank. You have your tank in the front column. They die. They immediately get resurrected, and you have 20 seconds of immunity and 300% more damage. Now, here's the kicker. That alone is neat. There's ways to buff this. There's other support things and blah, 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 so you can get a nice big damage boost when somebody dies. But here's the thing. At no point in here does it say there's a limit to the number of people who can have this generous Djinn buff. It just says the ability has a 60-second cooldown. So what you do is you go as far as you can, and then you manipulate your formation to get more damage. You manipulate your formation. I say this, you go as far as you can because you need you need enemies that are hitting real hard. And you, one by one, once every 60 seconds, kill off everyone in your formation. Then everyone has the buff. And it stacks multiplicatively. So I'm pretty sure it stacks multiplicatively. Doesn't it? No, it's post-stack. Wait, no, that's the support for it. I think there's one of these. You know what? It's been a while. I'm pretty sure it stacks multiplicatively because this is a huge buff. I can't remember because it's been so long. This is a very big buff. It's it doesn't. The buffs apply to the post stack modifier, so it's not mathematically overpowered. This is such a 2 to 3 years thing ago. Yeah, because that was when it was huge. But it still works. The damage is ridiculous because you can get 10 stacks. This used to be the thing. Like figuring out how to quickly manipulate and Jin stack. That's what it was called. It was Jin stacking. Was a big way to get a lot of damage on a run and to push further. Still can be. It still can be. There are other champions in this slot that are strong. Antreus, Commodore Crux, Carlock. Eric came in pretty solid. Yeah. Stokey's rework did not, but who knows? Maybe they'll tweak Stokey and she'll be competitive too. Just know that power is still there. Baloth is still strong. Good option. I break them out every now and then when everyone else is restricted. All right, spec choices. Baloth's birthday party. Overexcited. The show must go on. So Baloth's birthday party increases cause for celebration-related stacking values for morbid excitement. That's nice. Overexcited increases the max stacks of morbid excitement. Remember that. I told you there's ways to get more stacks, but basically it triples them. That's nice too. And shorter runs where you just want some damage, it can be either one of these. Honestly. Dealer's choice. I've never paid attention as to which one does more damage. I just know they give you some decent damage. Okay. The show must go on is if you're deep pushing. Because the show must go on says champions resurrected by Najim are invulnerable for an additional 10 seconds to get 30 seconds. And they increase the pre-stack damage bonus of resurrected champions by 100%. This one. Right? Because you pre-stack. This is why I knew that was multiplicatively stacking. Because it's pre-stack bonus. This one. This is the one that gives the most damage. And I'm pretty sure it beats these others as long as you get one person dead. But when you're doing all 10, jackpot. It's so good. So good. All right, let's max Baloth out here. All right, ultimate. Now that's an entrance. Najim streaks across the field, dealing massive damage to all enemies. So a screen-wide AoE. Pushing ones that survive back slightly, so a small knockback. But more importantly, increasing Baloth's excitement stacks to max. So this is what it looks like. Boom. How's that? It didn't do anything. There was nobody on the screen. Thanks. Battle champions. All right. And that's it. That's all his stuff. Yeah, it's really... Look, you're just trying to place him correctly and hit that ult to max out your excitement stacks. And then Gen stack. And then Gen stack. That's his power. That's the power in his cat. All right. Pair damage all champions items. Paid partially with pain. So this is a gold find. Morbid excitement. That's damage. Increase the max stacks of morbid excitement. More damage. That's why mine's 450 was at 454. And then it increases the post stack buff on generous gen. Womp womp. I mean, this would have making Baloth a pre-stack. You change. I look. CNE. Baloth rework. Just change this to pre-stack. That's all you got to do. He's reworked. He's good. He'd be back. All right. Damage all champions feats, gold find feats, generous. We got increasing max stacks of morbid excitement. We got post stack generous gen. More increasing max stacks of morbid excitement. You know, boom. That's a new one recently. Paid partially with pain. More morbid excitement. I mean, look. He knows what he likes. All right, let's talk about Viconia. So, female drow cleric, neutral evil, healing and support. Also part of the Heroes of Baldur's Gate. She has a ranged attack, despite being a cleric. Well, I guess that is a cleric, an old school cleric thing. Sling. She slings a stone at a random enemy. And it's a good thing she doesn't live in a glass house. Main buff, Cleric of Shar, and this informs Viconia's usage. Like, period. She increases the damage of either evil champions and or Heroes of Baldur's Gate champions. So she is you either use her with her affiliation, like with a DPS from her affiliation, or with an evil DPS, and that's it. She does nothing buff-wise, otherwise. That's it, folks. So understand that. Cure medium wounds is her heal. She heals allies that are under 50% health, so you have to have taken some damage. It is a hot heal over time, so 74 health per second for 5 seconds. Animate Dead. This is the thing that I will use her in any formation, just for funsies, for Animate Dead. Whenever a non-boss enemy is killed, there is a 20% chance that Viconia will seize control of its lifeless body and turn it against its former allies for 10 seconds, stopping their movement. She's a necromancer, folks. I mean, come on. Come on, it's great. Who doesn't want reanimated enemies? That's what these are over here. Killing your other enemies. Nobody. Well, it is nobody doesn't want that. While it is reanimated, it deals a bunch of your bud to nearby enemies each second. There can be up to 25 reanimated enemies at a time. They look like that. They're going to come back looking grayscale, and then there's this circle, this purple circle. This indicates how the area of effect of damage around them, and it's just pulsing out bud damage. And they just sit there for a while. Great. All right. The specs. Holy power, Batman. Begrudging respect and turn undead. So holy power, this increases the effect of Cleric of Shar, that's the buff, by 100% for each column away from the backmost column she is. So she likes short, stretched formations with as many columns as possible, and she wants to be right behind the tank line. She is not a tank, so she wants to be right behind them. It does stack multiplicatively, and she wants... that's all she wants. She's as close to the front as possible in a long stretch out for me. Begrudging respect, Cleric of Shar now affects neutral champions instead of evil ones. So, you can give up power from spec choices to use her with a neutral DPS. So neutral on the good and evil axis. That's it. Still will do Heroes of Baldur's Gate, but that doesn't matter. Because you didn't need to change specs for that to happen. Right? That was happening to the other spec too. So yeah, this is something where if you're restricted in a variant, you might be able to use her if your DPS is neutral. But otherwise, you're going to want to use one of these other two. Right? Turn Undead is the fun spec. That's the one I use just because I only use it for fun. Increases the chance for Animate Dead to trigger by 100%. So yeah, give me more animated dead on the screen. I just like having all of these dead people killing all their enemies, all their friends, for me, while I just sit back and do nothing. Because it's an idle game. All right. Ultimate. Yesterday's Undead. Whenever a non-boss, non-static, non-undead enemy spawns. Did you catch all that? There's a 50% chance that it spawns as an undead version of itself, while also retaining its original tags. Because here's the thing with undead. Undead is usually its own tag, and it doesn't usually, there are some exceptions in this game, include anything that it was before. So like, we're spawning beasts on this level. Normally, they just say beast. And if it was an undead animal, it would just say undead. But when she tags it, when she throws out yesterday's undead on it, it becomes a beast, undead. This is a way to generate undead enemies in places where there aren't any for favored foe reasons. There's a lot of favored foe mechanics in the game now, and you might want an undead one for some reason, and this is an easy way to do it. It also works for patron challenges. If a patron wants undead, and normally you're going to Mad Wizard for everything but undead, you could throw Viconia into Mad Wizard. You will create undead, and you can farm everything that you need for a patron just out of Mad Wizard. That's it, folks. Ultimate Unholy Blight. Viconia summons a cloying miasma. I love that. Cloying miasma. Of cold and greasy darkness that damages all enemies and increases the odds of any enemies killed by it, triggering animated dead by 50%. So it's just like boom. Oh, right. As we changed levels, of course it did. Dang it, game. And suddenly you've got more animated dead. So it's an animated dead creator. The dead creator, but it's also an animated dead creator. All right, we got to talk about items. Ooh, I was moving right along. Damage of all champions, Cleric of Shar, Animate Dead, Cure Medium Wounds, and then Ultimate Attack and Ultimate Attack cooldown. Feat-wise, Damage of all champions. She does have a Mother Superior feat for Baldur's Gate 3. So she can get a Ceramorphosis stack. She gets a Tadpole to help out absolute adversaries. That's all this is for, is put her in an absolute adversaries formation. She has a Make Undead feat. Viconia also counts as undead. Increases damage of Animate Dead by 80%. So you can do more of that bud-based damage. Also, she can qualify, for people who want dead champions like Desmond. This works, right? Yesterday Undead, Cleric of Shar, obviously those are the big ones. That's this is the big one. Animate Dead, chance of Animate Dead triggering if you just want tons of, what I do. If you just want tons of zombies. And then healing, which, Alright, Gosrick. Round of Gosrick. He's a rock gnome. Male rock gnome druid, neutral good, support gold, and debuffer. Member of the Rivals of Waterdeep. That is a complete affiliation at this time. Frostbite is his base attack. It is magical. He attacks the closest enemy with a chance to stun them. Now, I don't know what the chance to stun is, but he's got one. It's a single target attack, so it's, not happening too often, right? His ultimate is Sleet Storm, and I like this one, so I'm going to turn off progress so we actually get to see it. Gosrick summons a Sleet Storm above the nearest enemy, dealing damage and freezing the ground in a large AoE radius. Frozen ground lasts for 30 seconds, slowing enemies by 50% while they travel through it. If it is not already snowing in your area, it begins to snow until the area changes. That's what I love about it. Boom, there was the Sleet Storm, and now snowflakes. This is a visual effect, but there are champions that this actually buffs. The Virgil is a weather wizard, and when weather changes, he loves it. Jedi's Force, I left one what out? Did I leave out an ability of Viconia? There's nothing else here. All right. You can ask a question about whatever I left out if you want. Just put question colon in front of your questions, folks. All right. Abilities. Frosty Friendship. Gosrick increases the damage of all champions in a snowflake shape. I need to be clear here. He is not buffing champions who are shaped like a snowflake. I want to be clear. Because if you read it, that's kind of the way it sounds. No. His buff radiates out from him in the shape of a snowflake. It is positional. Damage to bonus depends on how far away they are from him, with the effect increasing for each slot. So as you can see, under each of these champions, there's a little snowflake design because it's sending out these arcs, these lines, in directions, like a snowflake, but it's at an angle. So here's like an angle to the front and down, and then if we move him here, you also see there's the angles up top and below, and then to the back. So like this hits almost everybody, but that doesn't mean anything. Like if we were buffing Barrow-in, you'd want Gosrick here because that's the furthest away from Barrow-in we can get. Now the interesting note is it can jump gaps. So we can still buff Barrow-in from all the way over here, even though there's nobody in there. And even if that was completely empty, we could do so because we're jumping this mid gap too, right? So it's snowflake design. Not a champion shaped like snowflake. Traveling Merchant. This is the gold find ability. Gosrick now travels with a portable stall to sell his merch. I love it. I'm here for it. Increase the gold find bonus by 100% for each Rivals member in the formation, including himself. So just by himself, 100%. Double gold. That's fine. But if you're running a full Rivals group, obviously, you're running much more damage. 600%. Okay. There is an item for that too. So it can be higher. It's just that's the base value. Armor Ablation. This is what makes him kind of an anti-armor champion. That's kind of his other functionality. Instead of just, gold find, it's this. Gosrick's cold attack lowers an enemy's armor threshold by 15% for 30 seconds. Only applies to armored enemies, stacks up to 30 times, which is a pointless stack, and we'll talk about that in a second. But each stack tracks its own duration. So, here's the thing. The way armor works when it's talking about this armor threshold, the way armor works is you see a segmented health boss and it has a shield on it, that's armored. Segmented health without a shield, that's just hit based. So it just needs 1 damage to clear a segment. But with armored, you take their total health and you divide it by the number of segments. If you see a yellow bar, that means there's the big wide yellow bar, there's 25 segments, and then there's red underneath, that means it's total of 50. You divide by 50. Now, sometimes it's just like the thing will say they have 5 armored segments, so you divide the health by 5. That's actually much tougher to kill than the one that's divided by 50 because the threshold is higher, right? So, whatever the health is divided by 50 is the armor threshold. Now, that value, let's say, well, I'm not even going to give it a value. Whatever that value is, Gosrick lowers it by 15% for each stack, right? So you can Gosrick basically makes it easier to remove an armored segment by lowering the threshold. Now, it stacks for 30 seconds. It'll stay there for 30 seconds. It stacks up to 30 times. His attack speed is 5. He can get off 5 attacks, really, before that's... He can get you 5 stacks if you're only hitting an armored enemy. That same armored enemy, like on an armored boss. Now, obviously, there's ways to speed up attacks. You would have to do some speed attack shenaniganry to get him to his attack speed, animation speed max, which, you know, is just under a second, to get, like, full stacks. There used to be another way to do this, and that was Narak. It doesn't work anymore. Narak now only buffs positional formation abilities, and this isn't positional. So you can only get Gosrick up into that beefy number if you're running lots of attack speed. Which, you know, if it happens that that's your formation, great. Otherwise, you're just not going to get to. All right, control weather. Gosrick causes enemies to take an additional amount of damage in areas where it's snowing. So this is where the ultimate also comes in, right? Because he pops his ultimate, he makes it snow, and that's the debuff. So he helps himself with that as well, but it's really a solid interaction with Virgil. Spec choices. So Genius with gold, aim around armor, or finesse with frost. So Genius with gold buffs the gold fine 200%. Aim around armor increases the duration of armor ablation by 100%. There you go. That can take it to 60 seconds. So if you're dealing with armored stuff and you want to reduce the threshold, aim around armor. But you're either giving up gold or damage. So, you know, figure it out. Make your choice, right? Finesse with frost boosts the effective control weather by 200%. So this is usually, if you just straight up want more damage, finesse with frost, because that's going to increase the damage of all champions on a snowing area. It's just in snowing areas. Gene with gold is your gold find spec. Aim around armor is your anti-armor spec. Okay. Aim around armor. Just because. Okay. I want to say that's it. Yes. Okay, good. I remembered correctly. Damage, pair of damage all champions items, Frosty Friendship, Traveling Merchant, Control Weather. So all the abilities. So straight up Snowflake buff. This is Gold Find, and this is the debuff. And then reduce the cooldown in the ultimate, which is great because that makes it snow more often. Damage all champions feats, Frosty Friendship, a Traveling Merchant, that's Gold Find. Control Weather, Strength feat +2 qualifies them for Patron Zariel. Constitution +1 qualifies them for Patron Vajra. Pretty straightforward. All right, more gain. More gain, more pain. Wait, is that how that's supposed to work? It does in this case. Female High Elf Ranger, Chaotic Neutral, Support and Gold. She is a member of Acquisitions Inc. She's part of the A team. I'm going to read some stuff here. I want to make sure everybody remembers she is support and gold 5. But apparently nowadays she can become a super secret DPS. Ranged attack is rapid shot. Morgane shoots an arrow at a random target, then quickly follows up with a second arrow. So 2 hits. Her ultimate is customized arrow. Okay. I knew it. I knew when I said it, I was like, they don't put the description in the game, do they? Hold on. Do they put it over here? No, they don't. Ah, dang it. All right. Give me a hot sec, folks. This is why I make guides. Morgane is an interesting champion. I'm just gonna talk while I scroll here. Morgane is an interesting champion. She does have the gold find role, but I want to be very clear. She doesn't produce any gold. None of her abilities actually produce any gold. Yeah. So the ultimate, she can fire off 3 different types of arrows. One is a skull-carved arrow, which says it rips through all enemies it hits, continuing in a straight line until it leaves the screen. This is Zorbu-like. It's basically a line-based AoE. Smoke power arrow, the arrow explodes on the enemy it hits, dealing damage to all other enemies nearby. So this is a burst of AoE. And green leaf arrow, it causes the enemy it hits to take damage over time. So it gives it a dot effect. It chooses this at random. So every time you fire it off, you're going to get something different, potentially. All right, double tap. If Morgane's first arrow kills her target, the second arrow causes the enemy to drop a second set of gold. And now at this point, you're going, but wait a minute, Gaarawarr, you said she doesn't have any gold find effects. Yeah, because she's not a DPS. She shouldn't be killing anything. And if she is killing things early on in the run, it doesn't matter because, I mean, you'd be making plenty of gold in anyway. Now, if for some reason you can make her a super secret DPS, you do get a little extra. But anyway, paid up front. This is actually the thing. Morgane takes your gold. She makes you earn less gold. She collects 25% of all gold drops by enemies. So you're making 25% less gold just by having her in the formation. Understand this. But in turn, increases the damage of adjacent champions by a number, increased by 5% for each order of magnitude of gold that Morgane has collected. Stacking additively, the collected gold count persists through resets. This is a permanent stacking ability, but it is not like other stacking abilities where putting her in a lot gets her stacks. No, like this isn't like the kill chasers or the on hit chasers. You only ever want to put her into farm this gold collected when you're deep in a run, earning more gold than you've ever collected before, like from either dirty gold farming or Azaka farming or Makos bombing, right? The 3 main forms of earning gold, right? Or just if you don't do any of that, or you're just at the deepest run and you've earned a higher gold number than you ever up here in the top left for gold find, like the amount of gold you've collected, than you've ever earned before. That's it. Because she's basically checking a high water mark. Because you're dealing with large numbers in this game, like I'm at E325, it's a high water mark. Collecting a lot of little gold over time affects it, and not at all. It's absolutely pointless to try to like gold farm with her in runs. You just have to put her in for a moment, let her collect that. Just one drop of gold could be enough to really set that order of magnitude. Order of magnitude is the number after the E value in scientific notation. Why we use scientific notation. I was reminded recently I need to raise this up again. But here's the thing. I'm at E325, which is up there, folks. And it's still only a 1625 buff. It's not. It doesn't stack super well, unfortunately. All right, friends and wealth. This is why she has the gold find roll. She increased the damage of all champions by 100% for each gold find champion in the formation. So they gave her the gold find tag, and they've omitted this specifically so that this is always at least giving you 1 stack. Sure, they could have just made it 100% increase the damage of all champions by 100% plus 100% for each gold find champion in the formation, and then not given her that, and then it wouldn't have been confusing. But you know, we live where we are. Oh, hey, there's the description for the ultimate. Whoops. All right, now, spec choices. She is incredibly flexible. She's going to have 3 separate spec choices. And her spec choices allow you to place her in your formation however you want. This first set is about the positionality of her buff. So, Paid up front buffs adjacent champions. You can leave it that way with fine as is. You can say keep your distance, and then it only applies to non-adjacent champions. So depending on the formation, how you want to buff people. Monster fodder says it only applies to champions in front of her. And stand on my way means it only applies to champions behind her. So she has a lot of positionality adjustments here. And based off your formation and her placement in that formation, you choose which one you want. I'm not really trying to select something amazing here, so I'm just going to leave it there for now. Now, the second and third set of specializations, you're going to get to pick 2 of these 4. So one of them on the first choice, or one of them on the second spec, and another on the third spec. And what you want to look for is whatever, based off you know the positionality you chose and where she's placed in the formation, whatever is going to give you the biggest buff. Okay, keep it simple. Just increases the effect of paid up front by 4x, so 300%. This is what you want to keep in mind. This 300%. There's your base modifier. This is the smallest value. So you're going to want to look at these other values and see, are they bigger than this? And how many are bigger? If all 3 are bigger, then you figure out which are the 3 biggest over here, and then you pick the 2 of those, like the 2 biggest out of those 3. But if this is bigger than all but one, then you know you pick the bigger one and this. Super simple, right? So 300%. Tight formation increases the effect of paid up front by 75% additively for each champion adjacent to Morgaine. 4 champions adjacent equals keep it simple. Okay. 5+ and it's bigger than keep it simple. Super easy math. Okay. Calm under pressure increases the effect of paid up front by 20% for each enemy attacking a champion within 2 slots of Morgaine, additively stacking up to a max of 20 enemies. This can go up to 400%. But you have to be within range of the tank or all the tanks for it to get there, right? So it has the potential to be bigger than this, but only if she's placed near the front of the formation. Okay? Unless you're dealing with AoE bosses or something, but generally you want her in the more closer to the front. The long game increases the effect of paid up front by 10% for every second that an enemy isn't killed, up to a max of 60 seconds, and it resets when an enemy is killed. This is the one you want. This is going to be guaranteed to be one of the ones you want. You're doing a deep push. Doing a really deep, or you know you're doing a variant where you need every bit of power. This is going to give you 600%. So the long game, and then whichever one of these 2 is, or one of these 3 is the biggest. If you want to max damage. If you're just doing a quick run and you know you got plenty of damage, just go keep it simple. Just keep it simple. And you know, if you've got, and then you can just do tight formation and enjoy whatever damage you get and run through it, right? But if you're going for the maxes, technically it's these 2 on the right. I believe, yeah, because this one get to 4. Well, this one can get to 450. If you can surround her with 6, this one can get to 450. But a lot of the times I end up, because of placement and the way a formation layout is, it's these 2. So then that's going to pop up again, but it's just the 3 that are remaining. And you're done. So again, super flexible. She has a lot of options to kind of tailor her to suit the situation. And that's it, right? Yeah, that's all. Itemization. Pair damage all champions, paid up front, friends and wealth, ultimate attack cooldown. Feats are real straightforward. Damage all champions, paid up front, friends and wealth. She has not had to rework or even skins or anything since she came out, so super easy. Super plain. Yeah. Barrow win. All I do is barrow win, no matter what. Female dwarf cleric, lawful good, tanking, healing, and support. Tanking 25 overwhelm, which tends to be average. It tends to be kind of the standard. Some are a little bit lower, a couple are higher. Unaffiliated. Base attack is Mighty Hammer. She smashes the nearest enemy with her Warhammer. Mm-hmm. Main ability, Blessed Hammer. She increases the damage of champions behind her by 400%, so positional, for each champion in the formation who has an equal or higher base attack cooldown, stacking multiplicatively. So, For anybody who attacks the same as or slower than her, she buffs. She buffs. She buffs. She buffs. Yeah. And it's stacking. Multiplicatively stacking. Lawful Vigilance. Barrowin has a number of vigilance stacks equal to the number of champions in the formation that are either lawful or dwarves. If only we could build a good all-dwarf formation. So lawful or dwarves. This is what she likes to be in a group with. Remember this. Because vigilance stacks are a big deal for her. She increases the health of other champions in the formation by 5% of her max health for each vigilance stacks. The lawful vigilance itself determines the number of stacks she has and is her health share. Okay. So the formation is going to get tankier the more lawful or dwarves you get. Healing Word. Barrowin heals champions in her column, including herself, for a very small amount of health per second for each stack of vigilance she has. So again, vigilance is the big build around. After she attacks, her next Healing Word also applies a temp HP bonus of the same amount. So she is a self-shielder, as we can see here. But she shields herself and everyone in her column. Even Temper. Barrowin attacks 0.25 seconds faster for each stack of vigilance she has. This is how you get Blessed Hammer stacking super nice, right? Because every stack of vigilance she gets, she attacks faster. Okay? When a champion that is eligible for Healing Word is hit by an enemy, Barrowin attacks 1 second faster for her next 2 attacks. So tons of attack speed potential here. And a trigger if she's in a multi-tank column or if she's on her own, because she's eligible for Healing Word, she's going to start attacking faster. Okay. Hammer time. Barrowin remembers the largest number of enemies she's had to tank at once in the current area. So this is an in-area ramping effect. Blessed Hammer is increased by 100% multiplied by that number. Otherwise referred to as additively stacking. Now you can have up to 100 enemies on the screen at once, so that could be up to 10,000% if she's tanking them all. Right? Spec choices. Greater Blessing, Booming Voice, or Hammer of the Law. Greater Blessing, Barrowin's Blessed Hammer is buffed by 400%. Great. Just a good straight up buff. Okay, 400%. Booming Voice, her Healing Word is buffed by 100%. Now this is going to increase the healing, but it's also going to double that temp HP shield. So for survivability, Booming Voice can be nice. And you might want that over damage in certain cases. Hammer of the Law has the highest potential. Barrowin's Blessed Hammer base effect is additively increased by 20% for each vigilance stack she has. Okay, because it's buffing the base effect, you can get some good numbers. I think I did. Did I do a chart for that? I might have done a chart. I can't remember. But yeah, you want a certain number of Hammer of the Law stacks. You want a certain number of vigilance stacks for this to work. Otherwise, Greater Blessing is better. I'm just going to go for it anyway, because I'm not building a formation to push with. All right. Maxing her out real quick. All right. Oh, is that everything? Gets her ultimate. I think that's it. Yeah. Ultimate attack is Holy Weapon. Holy Weapon, Batman. Barrowin infuses her hammer with holy energy and throws it at a random enemy, stunning it for 5 seconds. For the next 15 seconds, the base effect of Blessed Hammer is doubled. It's just a 15-second damage boost. That's it. Boom. She threw it real hard. Not a major animation. Itemization. To pair of damage all champions items, we get Blessed Hammer, we get Healing Word, and then ultimate attack and ultimate attack cooldown. So damage and survivability. She gets what she needs there. Feat wise, damage all champions, Blessed Hammer, shocker. Healing Word, shocker. Int +2. This qualifies her for Patron Strahd. She does get Overwhelm feats, and then she can speed up her attack speed. So if you're not getting enough attack speed reduction already with your formation, and you need her to be faster than your DPS or everybody so that you can get more stacks, there you go, Darting Weapon. And then, she has a feat I didn't know about. That was just another all champs damage feat. They must have added that recently, and I forgot to buy it. I'm trying to stay on top of owning all the feats. I bought them all, but I forget when they add new stuff. I wish that was easier to remember. All right, let's talk about Rust. His name is actually Rust on the Harbor. I wish they put the whole thing here. Male Tabaxi Rogue, neutral alignment. This is true neutral, or neutral, if you want to think about it that way. Support and gold find from the Ox Venturers Guild. They have 2 base attacks. Stabby leaps out and stabs a random enemy with their rapier, and then bang bang shoots a random enemy with his pistols, and it alternates. It's an alternating effect. Ultimate is Cannonball, and it's exactly what you would hope it would be. Russ loads himself into a cannon and fires himself towards the enemies, dealing damage in a large area upon landing. If Rust has a shiny gold piece, which is one of his abilities, he drops it while flying through the air, because of course he did. So here's Rust over here in the bottom. Check him out. He's got a shiny gold piece. Boom. Comes out in a cannon, gets fired, blows up, and returns to the formation. Oh, God, I love it. Okay. So, Rust is all about that gold find, folks. And the abilities are going to key you in on that. Hello, friends. Rust increases damage of all champions by 400% for each champion in the formation with the gold find roll or the Ox Venturers Guild affiliation, stacking multiplicatively. So, Rust really wants to be in an Ox affiliation, an Ox Venturers Guild group. Otherwise, if there's some other people in with gold find tags, great. Because they're going to buff your party that way. Rust for hire is the gold find. Rust increases your gold find by an amount. It's just a flat thing. It's just a flat number, and it's affected by itemization. So, yay. No qualifiers, just hey, your gold find gets boosted. 1 gold piece. Assuming Rust does not already have one, he has a 10% chance to find a shiny gold piece after any kill that drops gold. Each time Rust finds a shiny gold piece, he gains a riches stack. Now, here's the thing. It does say at the start, assuming he doesn't already have one. If you already have one, that's all he can hold is 1 gold piece, because Rust can't conceptualize there ever being more than 1 gold piece. To him, that's the most money you can ever have. 1 gold piece. He breaks. Like, literally, if you ever watch them play, like, if someone gives him a second one, he just kind of, like, he just breaks. It just blue screen. Like, he can't, his brain breaks. So that ultimate comes in handy, because remember, if he's holding his gold piece and you hit the ultimate, he drops it. So with Rust, with 1 gold piece, you want to park a familiar on the ultimate and just let him pick up the gold piece and drop it over and over and over again for riches stacks. Here's why. Rust increases the effect of Hello Friends by 5% for each riches stack he has, stacking multiplicatively. That's the good way. Rust loses his gold piece whenever he uses ultimate. The only way he loses it. Riches stacks are capped at the highest area unlocked divided by 5 rounded up. There's a number over here it'll tell you. Okay. So the deeper you go, the more riches you can stack. All right. So just know you want to park a familiar on his ultimate and let it stack up. And if he's not at his cap, there's power left. Just pause and wait and get the rest of that power. Highest bidder. Rust increases damage of all champions by 100% for each order of magnitude of your gold find percentage, stacking multiplicatively. Folks, that's the good way. Remember, order of magnitude is the number after the E. Right now, I have 104 stacks. So, the higher this is why I said Rust just loves gold. Rust is all about gold. The higher you can get your pure gold find number, a pure gold find boosts, and thus favor, the more damage highest bidder is going to give you. It's a big deal. So again, the more able you're to progress on the account, the more Rust is going to offer you. But he works all the way through, from the beginning all the way through the end, folks. He's great. Get rich quick, even more riches, or Rust's fever dream are the spec choices. Get rich quick. When he uses ultimate, all other champions with the gold find roll or Ox Venturers Guild affiliation have their remaining ultimate cooldowns reduced by 10%. If you're doing something with ultimate cooldowns and you need them faster, this is it. It's just kind of a gimmick. If you need it, there it is. Even more riches. This increases the cap of 1 gold piece's riches stacks by 20% for each champion in the formation with the Goldfine Roll or Oxventurers Guild affiliation, stacking multiplicatively. This is the power. This is the power choice. This is ultimate shenaniganry. This is power. Okay? Because you want, if you have a multiplicatively stacking ability and you can boost the stacks, that's what you want. Okay, Rust's Fever Dream is the Gold Find spec. Whenever Rust uses his ultimate ability, the weather changes to raining gold, causing gold coins to rain from the sky. You gain gold equal to 5% of a monster kill, including your Gold Find modifier, in the current area every second. It's just passive gold gain, and it's amazing. Here's what it looks like. Boom! It's raining gold. Hallelujah. Now, this is a thing that can stack for Virgil. This is considered a weather effect. So if you're running Gosrick and Virgil, Rust thrown in is going to give you even another stack of weather effects. So good. All right. Rags to Riches. So this is another gold find boost, but it's very limited now. Whenever Rust is holding a shiny gold piece, he increases the effect of Hello Friends by 200%. So you're going to grab that gold piece and he's going to keep it and just gives him a straight up damage buff. But when he's not holding it, he increases Rust for Hire, which is gold find, by 200%. So he loses it when he pops that ultimate. And then you have a very short window before he picks it back up again if you're killing instantly. It's a very short window where his gold find is boost. Now, if you're on a boss, he wouldn't pick it up because you haven't killed anything if the boss is the only thing left. So you get more gold off the boss. Or for clearing a huge wave or something, but you're doing it without the damage boost. So, all right, items, damage all champions item, then 1 gold piece, then Rust for Hire. This is the gold find number. Then highest bidder, then hello friends, what? And then ultimate attack. He's got great itemization. All right, feats, damage all champions, increase the max stacks of Rust's 1 gold piece. We want those. Why do I know? Oh, because that's for pushing. I'm doing gold. I have him in a gold find build. Hello friends, Rust for Hire, increases the effect of 1 gold piece, so the max. Then highest bidder, Rags to Riches. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of feats now. And then Scholar gives him int +2. Again, usually the indicator that's going to qualify you for Patron Strahd, and it's there for. All right, Rust is out. Imoen is in. Hey, it's me, Imoen. Imoen is a female human rogue wizard, neutral good, healing and support. Heroes of Baldur's Gate affiliation, ranged attacker with a short bow. Shoots a random enemy with her bow. I think she's also someone you can do with Will for folk hero. Her main ability is just optimism. She buffs adjacent champions. So no other qualifier other than adjacency. All right. And then she goes straight into favored foe stocks. So her favored foe is whatever you choose here. It's either beasts, dragons, monstrosities, or aberrations. And the interesting thing is not only does it become her favored foe, her attacks against those enemies do additional bud-based damage with each hit, which effectively makes her if she is not your primary DPS, she becomes a secondary DPS against those monster types. Which means if you're dealing with armored enemies that are one of these, she can help remove armored segments. Like against dragons with armor. Max round. Okay. So, early spec choice, because you need that favored foe early on. Perseverance. Anytime any champion's favored foes appears or is defeated. So, twice on an area. Once when it shows up, and then once when it dies. Imoen increases the effect of optimism by 50%, stacking multiplicatively. Good way. And then applying multiplicatively. That's how they all apply. I don't know why they say that. They all do that. Stacks up to 50 times. Stacks a reset each time the champion changes area. So this is an in-area ramping effect. The longer you're on that area attacking her favored foes, the more she boosts your damage. Okay. Stone Skin. Before every 8th attack, So this is kind of a attack speed thing, limited thing. Or upon entering a new area, Imoen casts Stone Skin on all champions in the frontmost column of the formation, granting them 300 temp HP. The amount is increased by 5% for each favored foe that is alive. So, when you load in, you instantly get temp HP. And then every 8th attack, she refreshes it, basically. It's not a huge value, but look, something's better than nothing in some cases. Ultimate is a disarm traps, folks. Imoen leaps out of the fray, attacking 5 enemies in sequence with her short sword, so one after the other. With her short sword in one hand and her lock picks in the other. She prioritizes enemies with hits-based health. So hits-based are the ones that are segmented health that just any damage can remove. And that way she's basically removing chunks. And she deals 5 hits per attack. So shreds hit-based enemies. If no hits-based enemies are available, she deals normal ultimate damage to enemies she attacks. So she is great for hits-based bosses, or like if you pop this ultimate on a hit-based boss, or hit-based barricades. Another thing, right? This is what it looks like. Again, it's kind of like whatever. Just runs out and hits stuff. Everything's dying instantly, so we don't see anything. All right. Polymorph. This is another favored foe feature. Before every third attack, Imoen polymorphs a random non-boss, non-static enemy into a monster with the same type as her favored foe. Thus, she creates her favored foes. It only has 10% of its original health. She makes it weaker and easier to kill. She cannot polymorph enemies that are already polymorphed by this ability a second time. But it does. It makes things, 90% of their health is gone. Now, this is a game of large numbers. That's not that big of a deal, but still. Does make it easier to kill. And that's it. That's all of Imoen. Itemization, damage all champions, optimism, perseverance, stone skin, so you can buff that temp HP shield, ultimate attack, and ultimate cooldown. Feat wise, damage all champions. Again, she can be tadpoled to place in a absolute adversaries formation. This is why people will use her with Will, and you can actually make her super seeker. She's the one you can make super seeker DPS, not Morgaine. That's right. Imoen. Sorry, I use them about the same amount, which is not often. Optimism, perseverance, stone skin feats. Oh, there's another thing I didn't buy. Strength +1. Again, this is a qualifier for Patron's Aerial. Zero acquires a 10 strength and 13 charisma. So, if someone's missing just one, you tend to see that +1 feat for one or the other. Neris. Neris gets a lot of use by me, but in a Briv gem farm. But Neris has been around for a while. Nice, just kind of general all-around buffer healer. It's, solid, but not amazing. Female human cleric, lawful good, healing support, another of the heroes of Baldur's Gate. Main attack is dash and slash. Neris cleaves all targets near the closest enemy, so it is an AoE on the closest enemy. Undead enemies take an additional 5 seconds worth of bud damage. So she can be secondary DPS against undead. Oh, lots of talking. 9 champions at once. This is going to kill my voice. That did not help. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Spiritual weapon. This is her main function. If you want to think of like the main ability. Neris calls her spiritual weapon to her side. It attacks on her attack timer, dealing her base damage with a bonus. So it is actually going to do more damage than she does. Spiritual weapon attacks can set bud, and that bud credits Neris. Okay. This is how it starts. It's going to change. War healing. When Neris' spiritual weapon attacks, Neris targets the column with the most damaged champion and heals all the champions in that column for an amount. So it's column-based healing for whoever has the most damage. This is great. It doesn't just assume that it isn't just saying it's the frontmost column. Because look, if you're taking AoE damage to your entire party, other columns need healing too. This is gonna propagate that. Okay. That's a good feature. Sanctify. Undead enemies become Neris's favored foe. So she is another favored foe person. They take increased damage from all champions and click damage. It doesn't say it. It's just increased damage from all sources. This is how she gets used in a Briv gem farm. Okay. Follow my friend. So this changes her spiritual weapon functionality. Neris's spiritual weapon follows the champion with the highest damage instead of her, your primary DPS. It attacks on that champion's attack timer, dealing damage based on their damage instead of Neris. If those attacks are bud setting, then the champion it is following gets credit for setting the bud. So whoever is your primary DPS is going to get this kind of extra damage from spiritual weapon. So it's huge, right? It's a lot of extra damage. And it's going to still credit them as bud. So like right now, the spiritual weapon is on Neris. Great. Never mind. We don't have a D because Artemis sucks. I tell you, look, he wasn't built for this formation. But if we had somebody else doing damage, like there was the actual DPS that we were buffing, it would be on them. It moves. It's going to move to whoever your bud setter is. All right, spec choice. Kelemvor's heal, Kelemvor's will, or Kelemvor's foe. The heal one is obvious. It's going to double your healing effect. Kelemvor's will triples spiritual weapon damage. Okay, that's generally the one you go for damage. Kelemvor's foe quintuples. It's 400% damage against favored foes specifically. The reason I don't say this is the one to go for is it does work against all favored foes. So not just undead, but anyone else in your formation that has dictated a favored foe. If you somehow turned every enemy in a run, which can happen, into a favored foe, this is the biggest damage. But that's a very unique situation. So generally you're going Kelemvor's will. Unless you need survivability. Her ultimate effect. Tip the scales. Neris leaps into the field, unleashing a halo of divine energy. It hits all enemies and decreases their damage by 50%, while increasing the damage the party does by 300%. And this lasts for 30 seconds. So for 30 seconds, you get a damage boost and a survivability boost, right? Here's what it looks like. And it just lasts for 30 seconds. That's it, folks. Itemization. A pair of damage all champions items, spiritual weapon, war healing, an ultimate attack, and ultimate cooldown. Feat-wise, damage all champions, sanctify, spiritual weapon, war healing, and then int +1, first draw. That's all 9, right? I did all 9. The only swap was Imoen and Rust. Yes. Okay. That's it, folks. If you have any more the specific questions, obviously throw them in chat with question colon. Looks like we only have 6 questions today. I got done faster than they thought. So we got about 45 minutes for questions. So fire away. It can be about these champions. It can be about anything about champions or systems in Idle Champions. Do what I can. What song are we going to the break? I had to set these up real quick. Oh, this next song they're going to listen to is Displaced Displacer, the song for Displacer Beasts.
Displaced and dispossessed, forever on the run, we never rest. It's here to put our skills to the test. Can you tell me where I've been? To the underdog from my native ring, try to find a new home in the in-between. Every day the same arrangement, hunt to kill and miss a strange man. Oh, feeling like defeated darkness, stuck in prey, we killing embers. Are we truly Scared to find an abandoned by a plan we had no hand in. Been in light to fading darkness, stuck in prey we kill in ambush. Are we truly evil if we made this way? Always left and never right. Midnight black as dark as night. Displaced, displaced, I lost without a way. Displaced, 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 displaced.
And we're back. All right. A couple things. There's the weekend stuff going on, right, with your buffs. Folks, there's also weekend chests, and you can get one of those chests free every week, just by signing up for the newsletter. You also get Hitch free. Get hitched today in Idle Champions. Just by signing up for the newsletter with a valid email address. They send you one email a week, and it's free stuff. What kind of free stuff? Well, this week it was a chest. Most weeks, it's a chest. So you get one of the, whatever the weekend chest is, you get one for free every week. And since pity timers for chests start at 4, folks, and the weekend chest pack offer starts with a 3. Oh, no, now it's 6. Never mind. They changed it. It used to be 3. And that's what triggered your pity timer. But wow, you get 6 now? And they're platinum chests. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. Look, free gold chests. Free gold chests. Also, that's where, grab your code from this stream, folks. For your free Electrum. Questions. Let me see if we have something that's on. Let me do the on-topic stuff first, then we'll go to the general stuff. El Jefe, how would Balos' ability interact with the Dark Urges? They're specifically talking about death and prevention of death. I don't know the order of operations for which one would trigger. Like, they don't put little things in there. You'd have to test them. And I've never run the Dark Urge with Baloth to know which one would trigger first. But the Dark Urge, if... So here's the thing. Dark Urges is going to depend. Is it the Dark Urge that's dying first? Which, why would they be in the tank column? Why would they be a solo tank in the tank column? Or why would they even be in the tank column? Because the Dark Urge in the specific specialization would instantly revive if they died, right? Otherwise you have to hit the ultimate to revive dead people. In which case, Generous Jin would kick in first, because they would just never die. They wouldn't get to the point where they die. Generous Jin stops it. But if it's Dark Urge specifically, that's where I don't know which one would trigger in first, because that also stops, basically, effectively, instantly stops Dark Urge from dying, kind of. I would think it would be Baloth's first. I would think it would be Baloth's first, but I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. Gaming Nizuke, new player, welcome to the game. How do I use the snowflakes? So, Wintershield is going on, and in Wintershield you earn snowflakes. I have 610,000. Huh. Okay. I opened a lot of bounty contracts and forgot. Apparently I forgot to do anything. Anyway, these bounty contracts will get you more snowflakes. So I'm glad you reminded me to go spend my stuff. Oh. Hold on. I'm so off rotation on my thing. Okay. I'm going to go over here to chests. So you go to chests. And then whatever champion, like the champions that you have unlocked in the event, so Will, Eric, Gosrick, these are who I have Mehen, Barrowin, these are all event champions that I've flexed. You can go here and spend your snowflakes on getting them gear, right? So for every 7,500 snowflakes, you can buy a 3-pack of chests, 2 silvers and 1 gold. Okay. That's what you're doing with your snowflakes. That's what they're for. They just buy gear. You can spend it on any of the champions you want that you flexed in the event. The key is you have to have flexed them. You have to or unlocked in the event. So the newest champion, Eric, the reworked champion, Mehen, and then anyone you flexed, I've still got to flex somebody. Yeah, let's flex Baloth. Rust. Yeah, let's flex Baloth. Okay. But it's an extra way to get gear for those champions, basically. And if you have lots of bounty contracts, you get tons of gear, like I did. Please remember to spend your snowflakes, because if you don't spend them, CNE will spend them for you. This is actually a good thing. In the past, these would just disappear. All your event tokens would disappear at the end of the event if you didn't spend them in time. Now CNE auto spins them, and then until you get down below 7,500. Anything under 7,500, then you keep until the next event. And you can in between events, you can open bounty contracts and store up those event tokens as well. Like I just opened up all those chests and that gave me more contracts. It's an endless loop, folks. Hold on, I just want to see what my Mehen is at now. Mehen. 2,045 average item levels. I can stop putting stuff on Mehen now. I'm just like, give me that gold, Mehen. Give me that gold find. Mucho Bucho. Would Barrowin work well with Whittle's attack speed mechanic? Well, here's the thing. You want Whittle to buff your primary DPS. So the answer is yes. You want Whittle to buff your primary DPS. So if you're adjacent to your primary DPS and you're adjacent to Barrowin, they're going to share the same attack speed. And Barrowin says anyone equal to her attack speed or slower is counts as a stack. So yeah, that's fine. Because you just need equal or slower. Now, if you have a DPS that's faster than Barrowin, they don't get to count in the count stack, right? Rough Rider, or if you have a DPS that's faster than Barrowin and you don't have Whittle adjacent to Barrowin, then you're kind of out of luck, right? But there is a shared attack speed mechanic there that can ensure that it works. Rough Rider asks, no, dang it. If Dritz was converted to an event champion to hang with his buddy Artemis, would he be the leader of the companions of Wintershield? No. I had a funny meme post on the subreddit once, and it's over, folks. It's over. Okay, all the rest of these are generic. So let's go back to the top, and I will do all the generic questions. Kojiri, I'm a new player. Welcome to the game. Plan to get Shandy to split the party. Nice. But I'm planning to refund her. That's not... No, you're not. Not the word for it. I know what you're trying to say. To get one piece of the time gate again. We got to talk about something here. Is it a good plan or not? I don't know. I don't... okay. Let's talk about what you actually mean. Because you're not refunding her. When you open a time gate, or either you spend 6 time gate. Well, it's does this work, Mars? Does this work on natural time gate weekends too? I don't do it. So okay, let's go in the Wayback Machine. Back in my day, when time gates were first introduced to the game, you spent 6 time gate pieces to get a random like 3 champions to choose from randomly. Ralph Ryder says yes, okay. And it was painful. because you might not want any of those 3. It was so painful. You might not want any of them, but you just spent 6 hard-earned, like long time spent saving up time gate pieces. So what they did was, when you did that, and back then there was just, when you opened the time gate, there were 2 adventures and a free play. That's it. So what they did is, if you didn't like that champion, I mean, you had to choose one because you already spent the time gate pieces. So you'd pick the champion and then immediately close the time gate, close it early. And what it would do it would refund you 2 time gate pieces, 1 for each of the adventures that you didn't do. Those base 2 adventures, this 50 and 75. It would refund you a time gate piece for 1 of each of those. Okay. And that way you only wasted 4 time gate pieces. But it was, an appeasal mechanic because time gates were bad back then. Nowadays, we're in the time gate 2.0 era, where you can choose when you pull this up, you can choose any event champion that ever came out. You can time gate any one of them, so you get exactly who you want. And because you're getting who you want, because you're choosing who you want, you should want to do those adventures. You have to do the first adventure, right, just to get that champion. But then you should want to do the other adventure and the variant, because now there's a variant in it too, so that you can get gear for that champion. You should want this. This is how you gear up your champions. Now on a natural time gate weekend, when you're just given a random 3 at the top and it says free, 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 you can actually, if you don't want any of those, you can actually pick one and do the instant close thing again and get 2 time gate pieces refunded back to you. When I've played on new accounts, I've never done that because they're almost always wanting one of the champions to get to split the party, to get to either split the party 1 or split the party 2. Split the party 1 needs 2 champions in every bench seat. Split the party 2 needs 3 champions in every bench seat. So through that point, you're usually wanting those. And by the time you get past that point, we're into beyond split the party 2, you've usually earning so many time gate pieces that it doesn't matter anymore, because you'll have the blessing, so you're getting 2 every 5 days off bosses. Plus you've got patrons unlocked, so you're getting 1 a week from each of them, and you're fine, right? Could you, for the sake of argument, do what you're doing just to get 1 time gate piece back? Yes, because you've got to unlock Shandy in the first adventure, and then you just don't do the second one, and then you get Shandy back. Sure. Is it the greatest idea? Here's the thing. When you're new, you want every champion option that you can get your hands on, and you want them to have some gear. And when you get a champion out of a time gate, arguably that's the least gear you're ever going to get for them. So it's almost more important to make sure that you're getting those chests, in my opinion. Can you do it? Yes. Should you do it? Look, that refund, that getting a time gate piece back thing is a holdover from a completely different system that they should have removed, honestly, because it has no purpose anymore. Really, they didn't. If you want to use it, go for it. Do I think it's a good idea? Not really. But it's your game. Play it however you want to play it. There are probably people out there that argue for this. I'm never going to be one of them. I'm currently, look, if Time Gate 3.0 comes around and maybe things change, I don't know. But currently I'm not one of those people. All right. The Massive asks, I've just unlocked Split the Party. Nice. I've got it set up to use 4 champions and 5 familiar. Oh, you're another party. Okay. You have a background party. Resetting at 51. Okay. I've seen people reset it at a later wave, like 101. Is there a reason to push longer? So I think I feel like we're talking about a background party, Massive. I feel like we're talking about a background party, so I'm going to answer from the point of view of a background party. 50s, it doesn't matter what. It doesn't really matter. I mean, some people will argue that you're spending some time resetting. This simulation is spending time resetting in the background. Oh no, you don't have to apologize. I want to make sure I'm answering your question correctly. So if you weren't, you then let me know in chat, and I will answer differently. I set mine to 50 because it's super easy, and I don't have to. Here's the thing: if a single champion dies in a background party, the run is over, and you get that red stop sign, and it's no longer automating. So I just set mine to something super easy, and I park a few champions in it, targeted toward a patron, and I do my patron challenges in the background, so I don't have to do them in the foreground. That's what I do with my background parties, as you can see here. I don't care about putting it to further, because that's all they're really doing, and trying to optimize my gem earning in a background party with all these air quotes. It's not that big of a deal. It really isn't that big of a deal. You're earning more gems in your active party than your background party. Optimize your active party. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it matters personally. Also, the 51 thing was I feel like maybe you're talking to somebody that picked up a habit I used to have back in the day. We used to have to in events 1.0. We're now in events 2.0 era. In events 1.0, the way that you got extra gear was you used those tokens. You spent your tokens to do free plays. It cost you tokens to do variants and free plays in the olden days. And you would have to go in a free play. You would need to complete area 50 to get a chest to get the reward. But sometimes we ran into issues where it wouldn't trigger at 50. So everybody, just to be safe and not waste their tokens, would cycle their runs at 51. That's where the 51 number came. Nowadays, it doesn't. You're not doing that anymore. And if you're just doing anything else in the background for gems, the 51 doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be 50, but you can put it longer if you know you have a lot of damage in those limited number of champions. But when I do a new account, I just put I don't bother. 50 is safe. 49 arguably would, unless the boss on 50 is important to you, 49 arguably is probably faster, because then you don't have to simulate the boss level. Rough Rider, what will we be covering next weekend? I think that's a surprise. Hold on. I think next weekend is something I've done before, but in a different way. It is. Next weekend is going to be something. Next weekend, I've got to. Yeah. I still have to finish my notes on next weekend. Because it's going to be it's going to be something we've done before, presented in a different way. Aggie Jess, what adjacencies are needed for the Holy Trinity? I don't know exactly what you mean by that. So Holy Trinity is Duke Ravengard, Strongheart, and a melee DPS. That is either good or neutral. I use a good one, hence the Holy Trinity name. If you use an evil one, I call it the Unholy Trinity. So Duke Ravengard, in their middle spec for increasing crit chance, Strongheart, who multiplicatively stacks an ability for attack speed and damage based off critting. So you're feeding into that loop. And then a melee DPS to enjoy all of the bonuses that you're creating from Duke Ravengard and Strongheart, because Duke Ravengard only buffs melee champions. I call that the Holy Trinity. I use Carlock for that. Rosie Beastinger is a beast inger in that as well, because of her crit damage boost, because her crit damage, you pick her crit damage spec, and it's absolutely ridiculous because she's critting on every hit. It's wild. But Duke Ravengard doesn't need to be adjacent to Strongheart. Strongheart does need to be adjacent to your DPS because he's got the attack speed boost and the buff, and he applies that adjacently. Whoever else you put in your formation, I mean, then you have to decide: is it somebody that has an on-hit effect? If it's somebody that has an on-hit effect, then you want them adjacent to Strongheart as well. Otherwise, or something that's based off attacking a certain number of times, like we were talking about earlier with Imoen. That's all you got to do. But it's just Strongheart adjacent to the DPS. Duke Ravengard does not need to be adjacent. Chevik, did you show the best skin in the game? I don't know, because that's a subjective thing. I mean, all the pirate skins are the best skins in the game for me. But if you were talking about Rust, I mean, Landlubber Rust, where he's dressed as the ship, is pretty great. But there's a lot of good skins in the game nowadays. Massive, should I focus on completing more adventures to try and unlock evergreens and such quicker? That's usually what I recommend. Right now, every adventure I end up trying to push deep, which is good for favored. No, it's actually not. But obviously it takes a lot more time. Yeah, it's inefficient. You got to find a combination. So I have a guide called a new player reference, and it's a milestone based guide for progression from day one, the moment you start the game, all the way into the mid game, solidly into the mid game. And it's built around the milestones. Most of the milestones are unlocking evergreen champions. So moving through the campaigns, but it's not just about unlocking the evergreens. It's about a combination of unlocking evergreens to get you towards split the parties and your patrons, as well as getting the global blessings, like getting as much of the blessings as you can from each of the campaign, which is doing the campaigns. But it's not doing variants unless the variants are getting you to the evergreen. You're basically doing the story-based storyline adventures. And the thing about favor is you don't want to do a deep favor push on every adventure. You don't want to do them at all in variants, basically. But you don't want to do them on every adventure, because if you go from, let's say, you've done 3 adventures and you did them all deep favor pushes, another deep favor push, I mean, you haven't really gained any power since the last adventure. So you're not really going to go further. So you're not really going to earn more favor. Right? Like unless your favor went up by a huge amount the run before, right? It's not really going to earn you more favor. Especially like to go super deep, right? Because you're probably going to end up around the same area. And you've got around the same favor, so it's not really going to go up much. So what you do is, like, you start off, like, say you hop into a new campaign. The very first adventure you do, you should try to go as far as you can to get as much favor to start that snowball going. The next adventure, you look at the difficulty rating. There's weird. It isn't a hard fast rule, but if you look at the difficulty rating and it shows for the next adventure and it shows as green, being easy, there's no need. You haven't. Basically, you are tall enough to ride this ride. Just do it. Just do the next adventure and keep going until you see the next adventure show as yellow or red or something, right? Something other than green. It's time to stop and do a favor push so that you can make it say green again. That lets you then rush through some adventures, a few adventures at least, just going to the completion zone and getting out and moving on. And so you're quickly progressing and then stopping and doing another deep favor run again. That is a more efficient way to progress. Plus, that the time that you have between those other adventures, between the other adventures you were doing quickly, all of the gems you earn you should be buying gold chests with them, opening those gold chests. That's power. That power then helps you push further on your next deep favor run, right? And that's what you want, is big jumps in favor, not just little tiny bits that you're spending hours to do, right? Because you might have been spending potions on those as well. There's no need to spend those resources. So what I like to do is I save potions, like the big potions, for deep favor runs, especially the purples, for a deep favor run, and then in between I just use speed potions and fire breath to get through the short ones quicker. Then a deep favor push is another set of big potions, right? You also kind of want to try, I just saw this come up, Ravenous was saying I was getting there. You kind of want to figure out what are the easier adventures to do deep favor pushes in. I think I might have called some of those out in the new player reference. If not, I mean, I definitely was paying attention in my VODs. The last new player count I did, I recorded, we streamed it all the runs, and I chopped every single run up, and it's up on my personal YouTube page, YouTube /Gaarawarr. But yeah, figuring out which which are going to be the good runs for deep runs. Like, usually what you're looking for is no armored enemies, or as few as possible once you get to a certain point where like everything is armored, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so not deep favor pushes on every run, because you're spending too much time and not getting a reward out of it. I'm Toast. How do you quickly remove familiars from the field? So if you are on PC, you hold down F key and then click around the hide all familiars button. This becomes a hide all familiar. This is the familiar button. But when you're holding on F, it's the hide all familiar button. And they go away. And then press F to quickly place. Hold F and just click wherever you want to put them, and they go out there, right? Yeah. I think you can also enter place familiar mode. No, that's not. I don't think there is. Is there another way? I think it's just that. Yeah, I don't know on consoles. I don't know if there is a way on consoles. Massive. How expensive is too expensive for gem familiars? It depends on how quickly you're earning gems. Right now, I keep snagging gold chests to try and get whatever boosts I can instead of saving familiar. Good! Just the price hikes so drastically. Yes. And gem farming most speeds up with Briv. Don't worry about Briv early on. Briv is a late game gem farm. Late game and beyond. Before that, just other speed champions. Because Briv, to become a gem farmer, Briv needs a lot of item level. Everybody else, not as many. So my rule of thumb that I used on my last new account was I would spin down to 0, like I would buy a bunch of gold chests, open them all, and then mark the time, and then the next day, play normally, and then the next day at that time, I would look to see how many gems do I have. Usually at the start of the day, fire up the computer or whatever. How many gems did I earn in a 24-hour period? Then I take that number and I multiply it by 5. If what I want to buy is equal to or less than that number, that multiplied by 5 number, then I feel like I can save up for it. As long as I have some speed potions to get me through those 5 days, I will stop and save up for it. If I'm out of speed potions, I'm not gonna do it, because that will slow down my gem gain, right? And it might take longer than 5 days. If you're using speed potions on all your runs, I do on new accounts. I just can't stand not having speed. So for me, it's the rule of 5. Basically 5 days. If I can earn it in 5 days, I'll save up for it. And so things like familiars, you can get a number of them early, and then it slows down because the price ramps up. But as long as you're buying gold chests, you're gonna get more power. That power is gonna let you complete areas faster, or adventures faster. Completing adventures gets you a dump of gems. Regular adventures of variants reward you with gems for completion. Why you want to be doing all of that as quickly as possible. Other things, like if you want to, like, how do you buy feats? Same thing. Anything I'm saving up gems for, I think about, is it going to earn me more? Familiars, just remember, familiars are quality of life. They don't necessarily speed the game up. 3 on the field here will speed the game up. And then 5 on the field will speed the game up. Because 3 on the field will pick up all of the little drops stuff, and then 5 instantly opens the bag. Those are speed effects. After you have 5 on the field, no more speed effects. So then you're looking, if you want to speed things up, speed feats, starting with the 12,500 feats. Then eventually, once you can afford the 50k, speed feats, but just the speed feats, or a stat feat that qualifies as speed champion for patron stuff when you get them there. The damage stuff early on isn't necessarily helpful, because just opening gold chests and then spreading out blacksmith contracts is going to be how you get damage. And again, Massive S, is there a way to see how many adventures I've completed in a region? Yes. For example, I want to unlock Vajra, but I have no clue away from the 15 adventure requirement. It should now be over here. campaigns, and then you should be able to click on like Vajra's Waterdeep. It should tell you how many adventures you've completed up here. Yeah. Under the collections. C for collections, not cookies, sadly. Wait, while I'm there, hold on. Feeds. Sort and filter. Owned. I want unowned gems. It says, okay, it says I'm caught up now. I hope I am. We're out of questions, folks. If you have any other questions, question colon. Oh, Massive as. What other idle games do you play? None currently. What have I been playing lately? I guess there's an argument. I play some Raid Shadow Legends. There's an argument that that's fairly idle because you can automate a lot of stuff. But I don't think it's ever referred to as an idle game. And then I've been playing a lot of Deep Rock Galactic Survivor because I love dwarves. And I get to get my dwarf on over there. You can watch me play that stuff over Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. Put my name in the chat. You click that and follow. Yeah, we played DRG Survivor the last 2 days on my stream. I play Idle Champions on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays I play their games. Lately, it's been Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. We may start. I think next week I may start a new game. Probably will, because I'll still be playing Deep Rock Galactic Survivor off stream. But we're really in the grindy phase of just I've got all the upgrades. I've got all the permanent upgrades in DRG Survivor, and now I'm just trying to do all the different masteries, which is just the challenges. It's fun. I like it. Makes my brain happy. To get to run around as a dwarf and mine and kill things. But yeah, that's pretty much all I play right now. This didn't have question colon in front of it, but there's a question mark at the end of it. Lucky Harry, just remember, normally you got to put question colon for people to answer the questions on this channel. I have a decent speed set up. What are some expected numbers for boss per hour to gauge progress? And where I should be spinning blacksmithing contracts? I don't know. There are people that get super into figuring out boss per hours, but figuring out boss per hours requires you, like, to really get it down, requires you to give your game hash to an external website, which CNE would say that's not the smartest thing to do, because that's the key to your account, technically. And as somebody who's worked in the games industry, that's usually you don't give access, any kind of access like that, to other people, but you make your own decisions if you want to do that. Those websites are out there. I don't, so I don't know that anybody's ever created a threshold, because everything about your earning is very gear dependent and champion dependent. So as long as you feel like you're getting a good amount, like, here's the thing, so yeah, we don't have time for me to build a speed formation, but if you want to stop by my channel on Mondays or Wednesdays, we can probably build a speed formation, talk about it. But basically you're trying to look for speed champions, which you can come up here to roll. Speed champions that are actually going to help you gem farm. If you're trying to do an AFK gem farm. The best most gem farms start on Mad Wizard, but the best gem farm, once you get to it, again, I think that's a mid-game thing. For gem farming is just mid-game. Briv farming is late game and beyond. The best one is Roots of Loomlurch and Wild Beyond the Witchlight. But like Deacon is good for gem farming rotations, so is Thalora if you've got a lot of favor. Whittle is usually the best combo to use. Lae'zel early on can be nice, but she doesn't pair well necessarily with the rest of these other speed champions for gem farms. So Whittle, BBG with his feet is better than Nahara without it. Sentry, again, for a regular gem farm, you wouldn't have Briv. Shandy, Human, Diana, Virgil is the more generic one. Havilar is just for Mad Wizard. And then Melf or Vi. Melf's is random, so you have to understand that it's random, and sometimes it's better than others. So those are like the ones that are going to give you good speed for gem farming. And then some of them have itemization for that. Whittle's got an item. Sentry has an item with a cap. Human has an item. Diana has an item with very low accessibility as well as feet. So she's super accessible for speed. Virgin has a very high item cap. Melf has no cap. It just keeps scaling. I can't remember on Vi. So not everybody needs the gear. But if you're trying to make your speed team faster, you put, like, I start off with average item level of 50 on my speed team, because not only on everyone in my speed team, because I start regular on a new account, because I start with all my adventures and variants with the speed team to race through it as quickly as possible. And a lot of times I just finish it with them because they have enough power. And then I go to 100. And then you're putting speed feats on, right? But beyond that, you're trying to invest item levels in the champions who have items that are going to use that officially. Diana, I think, first, because she can get her cap real quick. Human has a much higher cap, but is solid, and so on and so forth, right? Once they have their items effectively capped, like actual capped or functionally capped, like with Whittle, more investments isn't going to make you go faster, right? Then it's all a Briv game. Then it becomes investing in Briv. Atsy, is there a formula to restrict gold find in Turn of Fortune's Wheel, or is it just arbitrarily low? They just set it arbitrarily low. It's not a gold. It doesn't do this. It just does this, right? It's horrible. That's when people really started dirty gold farming, because you have to continuously gold farm along the way to even move forward. And it's not going to be very high. You'll hit the most you can really earn. I think mine was like E28. Nowadays, it probably would have been in the E30s with the good new gold find champions. From that point on, to get higher, you just have to convert from events, time gates, trials, etc. Right? Like right now, I have E69 Turn of Fortune's Wheel favor, because I converted up to that and then I stopped, and now I'm dumping conversions into Wizards 3 after getting as much as I could there. SNLO, how long does it usually take for a feat to be released costing normal gems after it has been removed from the Enclave? After it disappears from the Enclave, it's 3 months. There's a 3-month exclusivity period on feats. So usually around the time the next Thayan Enclave opens, which, for those of you who don't know, the Thayan or the next emergence event happens. The next emergence event is in 4 days. So these feats, these make undead feats for these 3, will after the next emergent event ends, it will be 3 months until they're available for gems. But whatever comes in here with the next emergence feat, effectively 6 months from the arrival. Last question, Lord Torek. What back you said, don't do what I do. Yeah. Regarding applying legendaries to a bunch of different shit. All of them. I put it on all of them. Let's straight up, I want people to understand. Don't do what I did. This is not efficient progress. You have to understand. They changed the legendary system at one point and refunded everybody their scales. And when they did that, up until that, I was not doing everybody legendary. I was being very specific. But after that, I did the math and I was like, I could legendary everybody. So I just did, because it made me happy. I wish I could refund my best scales back and redo it, but don't do what I did. Having just gotten into trials, what strategy do you recommend for applying legendaries to speed champions for jump farming? No. Gold champions? No. No. It doesn't change any of their functionality. What you want to do is invest your scales into your trials pushing team and any alternates you put in for the various restrictions. Okay? Because you need to focus on building a team that's going to be able to continue to progress through the difficulties of trials up to tier 10 and get tier 10 on farm. Tier 10 is currently the highest. You want to just be farming tier 10 like this with a group every week to get yourself 1.77 EO4 scales is how many scales we're going to get out of this run. You want to just keep earning the max scales you can. So invest into that pushing group, that trials pushing group, which generally we hope would be the same pushing group you use everywhere. If not, it's gonna become that way because the legendaries are gonna give them power. But you get legendaries on all other items, and you start leveling up those legendary effects. That's the big thing, is leveling them up, because just making the legendary isn't enough. It makes them nice and pretty, but it doesn't give them power. Not a lot of power. It's leveling them up, because every time you level them up, like a legendary up a level, it doubles its power. Each time is a double. So just 5 legendary levels. That's what I tell people. Just try to get 5 legendary levels like this on Drizzt. That's a strong champion that most likely is going to get you to tier 10 of trials. To get it with a group will get you farming. After that, if you want to go higher, fine, but it's a much bigger investment to go up to 10. 20 is an end game thing. 20 is an end game thing. I haven't even taken anybody to 20. 10 is totally fine. But 5 is good in the mid into the late game is fine. 10, arguably, if you want to transition from 5 to 10 late game, 5 is good mid game. 5 to 10 in the late game. Beyond 10 is an end game. All right, folks. That's it. We're out of here. Thank you to all of you for asking questions. Thank you to Mars for grabbing the questions this weekend. Streams on this channel will they usually resume on Tuesdays. Either with Idle Champions with Mars's guiding hand, or with Bushwhackers stream Tuesdays. But again, you can catch me on Monday through Friday over on Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. Trying to think if there's anything coming up. Again, the event will end on Wednesday, so get all your event stuff done before Wednesday and spend your tokens before Wednesday at noon, Pacifically speaking. Thayan Enclave, or the Emergence event, will start Wednesday. It's real easy, folks. It's super easy. Just do like a free play a day and you'll be fine. Get your quest. You want your daily quest, which is like 100 enemy kills, and you're good every day. Lots of corrupted gems to spend in the shop. And then next weekend there will be a content drop on Wednesday, or next Wednesday there will be a content drop, and then Friday Natural Time Gate weekend. And we get 2 weeks of that. 2 content drops, 2 Natural Time Gate weekends, because the next event doesn't start until the first Wednesday in February, which is the 5th. But yeah, lots of new content coming soon. That's it. Thanks for joining me. Have a good weekend. The song we're going out on... Oh, no. What did I choose? I don't remember. It's surprise. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Soaked by winter rains, I stumbled to the gate, seeking out my fortune. I was running from my fate, walking at the sunset, searching for the love I haven't met. The days they fade away, but my heart yearns to stay. It never went a night, never winter dreams, always shining bright. He stood there before me, like a moth to a flame. I was drawn to the heat of Neverwinter night. Neverwinter dreams. I was shining light through the darkest dreams. In a city still had the skeletons are kind. Going home together, futures intertwined. Here's what the solo is, I think.